this basically confirms it, as a recent report from Ian Rapport has dropped that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a Viking. Now, we had this idea in mind. We had heard all the reports about this, but we can officially say that now, regardless of what happens, Aaron Rodgers will not be a Minnesota Viking. We're going to be talking about this report that dropped moments ago from Ian Rapport on the Pat McAfee show. But very quickly before we do get into this video, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. We notice that just over 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news as we head into the bitter part of this offseason, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join us here on the channel. We're covering everything Minnesota Vikings. But without any further ado, let's jump into this video. Starting off here with our first screenshot from the Pat McAfee show coming from Ian Rapport. I would say the Vikings are as out as they could be right now on Aaron Rodgers. I'd be very surprised if he waited until after the draft. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't the Steelers, but I haven't been able to nail down if he's playing for sure yet. Now, this comes from Ian Rapport, nearly, if not 100% confirming that we will not be seeing Aaron Rodgers follow the destiny of Brett Favre. And to a lot of, reactions from fans, there's been a lot of people saying, yes, we want him. A lot of people saying, no, we don't want him. This now settles the ruckus that was going on from this. But we do have a few more reports kind of coming out from what was happening, where we were last, but Ian Rapport really shutting down everything that happened. The question is still going to be there about who is going to be the next quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings paired along with J.J. McCarthy, because obviously he's the only one right now under contract, and he has been really streamlined into this starting position from the Vikings organization, from Kwesi, from Kevin O'Connell. Everybody in this Viking system has really been saying that he is our guy going forward. Now, as I mentioned, there's no other quarterback. So when we're looking at J.J. McCarthy, the question still is arises. A lot of people still a bit concerned about his injury. Is he ready? Are we going to be able to run with him as a starter for the entire season? And that's a lot of where all these questions are really going to be coming from when all this Aaron Rodgers stuff kind of finally settles. It's still being kicked up around now, and a lot of people kind of coming out and retweeting this, requoting all this Ian Rapport stuff, but we're going to be touching on a little bit here in a bit who the Vikings quarterback could be, and of course the draft is still an option, and we know there's other positions in the draft that the Vikings are going to have to really focus on, but QB is not one that a lot of people have really kind of touched on yet. And I'm going to do a little bit here at the end of this video, kind of going over that, but right now J.J. McCarthy seems to be, and is really being pushed into this number one spot, rightfully so. He's deserved it, and last season likely would have been if it wasn't for that injury. But now without Aaron Rodgers, as I mentioned, the question's going to be arising. A lot of people are going to be speaking out about this and what was going forward, and we have another tweet here from the Purple Persuasion going over what Kwesi had said on Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy. He's been in a great spot. Every checkpoint he's exceeded. Really just pointing out that he's going to be the next guy. He's ready, and the management believes in him. And I think that's one thing the Vikings were really waiting for, is to get that confirmation, that feeling from themselves, from within the organization, that J.J. McCarthy is ready to take over this. And I feel, and I think a lot of other people as well, Vikings fans and everybody, really feels as well that if J.J. McCarthy were not ready for this job, if he was not ready for this whole situation, he would not have been pushed into this role. Which I really think comes all in turn as well with the Vikings' decision not to target, not to persuade, not to engage too much with Aaron Rodgers, because we know that there's a lot of problems that can come with him. He's obviously still a great football player when it does come down to having a team around him, which the Vikings do, and I think it's a really hard thing to go actually and pass up when you're in that situation where you can go and get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But we do have another quote here from Ian Rapport, kind of touching on the fact that J.J. McCarthy was the plan all along. He says, I don't think the Vikings were a pipe dream for Aaron Rodgers, and I think at one point the Vikings considered it. The Vikings are all in on J.J. McCarthy, and it certainly seems like Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with the Steelers. So more, once again, reinforcing the fact that it does seem like he will be a Pittsburgh Steeler, will not be a Minnesota Viking, and really saves the Vikings what it's going to seem like a lot of stress when it does come down to the media attention that they're going to get, and really just let them play their game. One thing that Kevin O'Connell's been very adamant about is just play your game, do what you can, feel the right way about it, and you're going to find your success there. And thankfully, that's the way that Kevin O'Connell plays his game, and it's the perfect situation for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, continuing on as well with this, when we're looking at the free agents for the Minnesota Vikings, obviously Aaron Rodgers is still there. We can count him out now, but when it does come down to a backup, there's a lot of options the Vikings still have to go through. Aaron Rodgers would have been a guy that did not want to back up, and we kind of have to think that would be the case as well with a guy like Drew Lock, who still has that ability to be a quarterback backup, but we saw last year with New York going off at the end of it. He played very, very well, and although there's all the starter positions, for the most part, are filled up right now. Of course, Pittsburgh Steelers could be an option if Aaron Rodgers does not sign there. They have the draft as well, but Drew Lock could be an option to be a starter elsewhere, but we're left with guys like Joe Flacco, who Griffin had made a video about yesterday, Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater. There's a few people like that we're in the realm of possibility for the Vikings, but it does come to a backup role, and with all of them, I'm pretty okay with just about every single one. You know, if there's any favorites, I think I would rather Joe Flacco. Of course, if Drew Lock could be a backup, I would still like that, but at a young age, a player who is still trying to fight for that starter spot, there's something in me telling me that he will not want to be a backup, even if it is for one of the better teams in the NFL. But when you're looking at Teddy Bridgewater, when you're looking at some other players, you want a guy who's been around, someone who's been able to be in the situations that J.J. McCarthy has yet to be in. And that really comes down to Joe Flacco being a great option here. Super Bowl MVP, 17 years of experience. Next to that is Josh Johnson and Teddy Bridgewater, but everybody else significantly less time than Joe Flacco, and that's really where I'm setting my mind at right now, is Joe Flacco still being able to be this mentor role for J.J. McCarthy, and I hope that's going to be what we're seeing, something along the lines of that, with focusing on him still remaining the starter on this team. Excuse me there. But with that, of course, J.J. McCarthy has to be shown that he's be able to ready. He's showing the organization they trust him. That's the big thing, but when it comes down to playing the game, that's still going to be a thing that we have to watch and a thing we have to wait for. And another tweet here from Tanner Pfeiffer. Many around the league believe that Aaron Rodgers is waiting until the Vikings show more interest in signing him. This was the whole thing going on before. Minnesota's made the comments about moving forward with J.J. McCarthy, but ruling out the chance of signing Rodgers would be silly once League Adam has told Tanner Pfeiffer. And of course, this was before showing where we were before with J.J. McCarthy, and it really does now kind of streamline that. They are waiting on J.J. McCarthy to be ready. They found that, and really at this point, and is what Ian Rapport has been saying here throughout this video, getting out of him. You know, he was a possibility, had to focus on him if J.J. McCarthy wasn't ready, but now we have that locked down. We have that figured out. We have it ready to go, and I think that's one thing that we've all been waiting for this Minnesota Vikings team, is to finally say that J.J. McCarthy is ready. J.J. McCarthy is the guy, and we roll from there. So let me know what you think about this. Are you happy with the fact that the Minnesota Vikings are clearing the way from Aaron Rodgers, and going towards J.J. McCarthy? And obviously the lineup is built ready for it. The lineup is ready to see what we're made of. The lineup is ready to see what J.J. McCarthy is made of. Everybody has been excited to see J.J. McCarthy, including the players, the fans, the coaching staff. They want to see him, what he can do with this Vikings lineup. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones coming back, because we have the availability from J.J. McCarthy. It all lined up around him, and we're finally seeing it. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.